Ron?
Yep.
Well, welcome to the Village of Holly Parks meeting for October 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the village offices at Cyclone Park. I call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Hutchins.
Yes, here.
McCanny.
Here.
Hamilton.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Kyer.
Here.
Peltonen.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to excuse Gail Pelton from tonight's meeting.
I will make the motion to excuse Gail Pelton from tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Looks good to me.
Would somebody like to entertain a motion on the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda for October 2nd, 2024.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of minutes for September 4th, 2024.
I will make the motion to approve the minutes for September 4th, 2024.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Oh, public comment not related to the agenda. Members of the public can address the commission for 4 minutes, and if they need more time with a vote, we can add another 4 minutes. I shortened this up, yeah. Anybody here to speak for public comment? No, okay. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm moving on to old business. Urban Community Forestry Program Grant Application, Raisa.
I turned it in on time. And they'll let us know sometime this month, but since it's only the 2nd, I wasn't real hopeful for today. Since this is our last meeting, however, I will email everybody when I get either approval or disapproval. I'm still waiting on a couple of things from Brian that needed to be included with the grant. Cost for the trees from the supplier, and a fairly detailed list of what he thinks the village will spend in maintaining the trees for the first 3 years.
Very good.
Other than that, that's all I have to report.
Any questions for Raisa?
No.
Thank you very much, Raisa. It's a long, hard battle. Those grants are, they're tough.
And since it's my first one for the parks, I didn't have all the answers. I had to ask a lot of questions,
Yeah.
but
Well, thanks for your
Thank you,
devotion.
Raisa.
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. I hope it works. We
If
have-
not, we'll just keep trying.
Well, we're looking for a bigger one next year, that really big one,
Yeah.
$250,000. But I think we should start talking about it now, because that can encompass every park.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just a park either. I was going to save this for reports, but it can be trees around when we move the depot, and landscaping and mulch and all sorts of
And
things.
street trees.
Yes. and
It can be
street
used for
trees.
street stuff too, not just, when you say not just parks, we can also use it for downtown stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Anything that in the village that, I mean, it's not going to pay for sidewalks, or it's going to pay for any landscaping. It can pay for any landscaping within the village limits.
And it's landscaping only though, not hardware like playscapes or benches or garbage cans.
No,
No, just landscaping.
just
Dirt and
landscaping.
shovel.
Dirt and shovel, right. And bushes and
Yeah.
flowers, maybe, things like that, but no hard equipment.
So they need to, in order to submit the grant early on, we would have to have discussion like in January about specifically what we would like to include in that, and we have to put specifics of what we want, what we're asking for.
I would
or-
like to start in January, so I'm not backed into a corner again, because I think that one is due by the end of June,
Okay.
which is pretty much everybody's budget year.
Right.
Kind of weird the way it works. But I would like discussions about that when we come back in January.
We can ask Chris to put that on our agenda for January. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, let's move on to budget items. Last time we discussed the gazebo, which is also on here, but any other items that people are looking at putting on for the budget? Budget items,
In addition to what we've already discussed,
right. I mean, we discussed $1,800 for Halloween.
yeah. But also, we discussed the bridge repairs, the gazebo,
Yeah.
we have that all listed. You mean in addition to that stuff,
Yeah.
or do we need to relist that?
Yeah, if there's any more items other than what we've already discussed?
Yeah, I don't have anything in addition to that.
Anybody else? Okay, let's move on. General business. Discussion regarding events in the parks from the village manager, Mr. Walker.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commission. So we've talked briefly over the last few years about transition when I retire, and that is this year in December. And so there are a couple of major events that I'm involved with that somebody's going to have to pick up. Now, over the past 14 years, myself and my staff has carried both the annual fireworks event at Lakeside Park and Holly Days that occurs in September of every year. And so I think discussion needs to be had as far as how those events are going to continue as far as coordinating, but maybe more importantly, as far as fundraising. So the fundraising portion is about $16,000. And fundraising is not always easy, although over the last couple of years, we've worked into a system of solicitation through mail and emails, and we've reached our goal just by doing that. And so I've created a folder which has all the contacts, all the addresses, all the email addresses, so that, you know, those can just be used again by somebody or somebodies, a committee, I think, preferably. But you'll need something for both those events. Now, Commissioner McCanny and I, we've talked about this a little bit, because the question is, well, who is this committee? And so I think it's a bit unusual that it would be all staff-driven like it's been, but you know, it's something that I enjoyed and something my staff enjoyed in working together as a team to get done. But with myself retiring, with Ms. Bigger retiring, with Brian probably retiring within 1 to 3 years, that's his range. I think there probably needs to be something a little more permanent in place. And so if I were to offer a suggestion, I would offer a suggestion of establishing a committee with a representative or two from Parks, a representative from the DDA, because Holly Days occurs in the DDA district primarily, although there are activities in Crapo Park. And then maybe even enlist somebody from the council so that you have that complete buy-in. I think it's important to have somebody from the DDA or somebody else from village staff, because, you know, when I talk about mailing out these letters, I mean, you virtually do hundreds of letters. And so you have the actual compilation of the letters, and then you have the photocopies that you run, you have the envelopes, then you have the postage. And so, I mean, I think those are all justifiable village expenses, particularly in light of the fact that the $16,000 or $17,000 used for the events are done without the use of tax dollars, but they're done through donations. And so, I mean, it would be permissible to use tax dollars. They used to do it that way. But, you know, it just never sat right with me as far as being a good expenditure of tax dollars, and that's why we went into this fundraising mode. So I guess I would offer it up to Parks Commission. I think it's natural that Parks Commission takes a lead in at least setting up the committee, because the events center around the parks. But I mean, that's a discussion for the commission to have and to see where you want to go with it. I mean, I'd be more than happy over the next few months, while I'm wrapping things up, to help tie up the loose ends and work with whoever's going to be taking over. Efforts in that really need to start in about February of each year, because you have to make your first payment in March for 50% of the fireworks. And so you have that to talk about. And then the other thing I'd like for you to consider tonight is we've placed in front of you the contract for Ace Pyro, and that is for, they are the pyrotechnics company that does both events, and their contract expired this year. And so this will be on the council agenda next week for council to consider. What I'd like is a recommendation from the Parks Commission, again, since these events occur in the parks, is as to if you would recommend to council to continue in the relationship with Ace Pyro, which I think is a good relationship. They've always provided excellent service to us at a good price, and what length of contract you would recommend to council. The contract, as they presented it, is a 1 year, but they have offered, if you read through the entire contract, to do a multi-year contract. I would recommend doing a 3-year contract, just so you lock in some stability and some price with that.
How long have they been doing this for us?
Well, so they were doing it prior to my hire. I got hired
I
in
thought so,
2010,
yeah.
and they were doing it prior to that.
I thought they were the ones that were doing it when I was on council.
Yes, they were. Yeah, because you were on the council that hired me.
Right.
Right, yeah.
You pointed that out to me one time, too.
Right, well, no, I appreciate it. So I actually, over the years, have checked with a couple of other fireworks companies, pyrotechnic companies, and really Ace Pyro has always been at the top. They've been the cheapest and seem to be the most flexible. My recommendation would be to continue with them, and I'm just hoping to get some type of recommendation I can take to the council and tell them that you discussed this at your meeting tonight, and that you recommend a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year. My recommendation would be a 3 year.
I think a couple years ago, one of the big competitive fireworks companies had an explosion. They went out of business. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, while we're discussing this,
How-
would you like to have a motion made right now?
Well, no, I'd
I
like
have
to
some
discuss
questions,
it.
yeah. Do we have, how long is the contract that just ended?
5 years.
5, and they're
Yep.
not offering that as a...
No, they are. They're offering a 5 year again, but I'm just thinking with the transition that you might want a little, you don't save any money by going to a 5 year.
Okay.
So the extension is 5% increase each year that it increases, so.
But does this contract, this is for July 3rd. Historically, we've always had on July 4th. Does that mean that we're locking in for the next however many years, that it'll always not be on Independence Day?
So you would be, yeah, you know, that's a great point. I remember discussing that with you. For 2025 and 2026, July the 4th is on the weekend, and because they have much larger shows that take precedence, they are not offering to do a weekend for us in 25 and 26. They would do July the 3rd, which is a Thursday and a Friday, I think. And then you could go back to July the 4th after that time. So as long as July the 4th hits Monday through Friday, we can do it on the 4th, the village could. If it's on the weekends, then you cannot.
So they're not willing to do it at all for us on the 4th, no matter what the cost?
Correct.
Okay, then. That's
Have we
disappointing.
called any other companies to see if they would take the size of an order that we have on the 4th?
Not this year, I
Is any
have
of that
not.
legwork? No? Okay.
So sitting with me, I don't see Holidays as a parks event. I see that as a DDA event who then uses Crapo Park sometimes for events. I don't see that as a parks event. Fireworks, I think, are a huge one, but I do agree it has to be some sort of committee that is more than just parks. We don't have the manpower. There's 5 of us. There's no way we're putting this all on. And, there's just no way. There's no way we can take on parks. I would absolutely suggest that council takes over fireworks and starts a committee that includes DDA, village staff, and Parks Board, so that everybody kind of has a say in it, but I can't see that we're not a Parks and Rec. We don't have a staffed person, I can't see this committee, this board doing the full work on that. So I do like the idea of having the committee brought together with multiple organizations on that.
Just out of curiosity, Amber, what is your take on how council might receive that? Do you think that that's something that council would take on?
This is
Putting a
something I
committee
did bring it up
together?
at our last meeting, that this is something that may be coming down, and I said, in past, before this administration, it was a council-run event, and they were they kind of punted it, honestly. They were like, well, let's see if the new village manager wants to do that, and then we talked about that when we had a workshop about hiring the new village manager, what we're looking for, and that was something that was really stressed, is that we want somebody who's community-minded, who does those kind of things. I think
Is that being written into
council would
the
be
job?
receptive to creating a committee, as Shannon proposed, where it's a couple different, a couple people from the DDA, a
Right.
couple people from parks, or
Right.
just volunteers,
Well, if we can avoid just everybody kicking the can, and then what'll happen is we'll just lose everything, all of our events, if we don't have a committee get formed.
Right.
But yeah, if your sense is that they would be open to that, I think makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
Is that something, Amber, that you would be comfortable with during council comments
Bringing up,
on Tuesday? Talking
absolutely.
about our discussion here tonight, and then suggesting or seeing who on council would be interested?
okay,
It was, from all the years that I've been involved in Holidays, our most successful and the easiest years that came together was when we had a representative from DDA, when our village manager was involved, DPW was involved, Chamber was involved. We had a representative come to the meetings from police and from fire. Like, basically just all of the main organizations that make up Holly, having an interest in putting this together, then those were the easiest years that came together with the least amount of effort.
perfect, yeah, you would know. I have a couple questions on the fireworks. So it's saying if a 3 or more year contract is signed, there'll be a 5% increase for each display
Yes.
in product. So are they saying we're gonna get more fireworks each year, or they're
No.
saying they want to increase our?
Yeah, they want to increase our costs because it costs more. Now, the one thing they did
So then
off,
why would, I apologize, why would they put the same amount though, than for the 3 years? If we
yeah,
were going
that,
to-
that was a typo
Okay.
typo on their part. I will call and have him correct that.
Okay, I just wanted, yeah.
No,
clarification
that was a good catch. I actually knew you would catch that.
It's almost like my job
I
is
know.
looking at numbers.
It's perfect.
Yeah, so, and actually the DDA, so I think that they will be a willing participant. If not the new director, somebody from the DDA, well, they already participate in that they budget $2,000 out of the $4,500 cost for holidays already. So they have
For
been paying.
holidays or for fireworks?
For holidays,
Okay.
which, for the fireworks portion of holidays. So they've already been paying that.
If I'm reading this correctly, the July 3rd date, or the Independence Day date, the cost is $14,000. The September date, the cost is $4,500.
Correct.
That's how it was, is that comparable to what it was this year?
This year it was $12,000 and $4,000.
So
So it-
almost 3 times as much. Okay, and this is just my opinion, but I just wanted to point out something. I think that the show that we hold downtown is a smaller show, but it seems bigger because it's not such a broad open space, but it's downtown. Like it seems like to me it seemed longer than what we received on Independence Day, and it seemed like a better quality show.
Really?
I had no idea we were paying 3 times the amount for the show on the lake. I think that the show on the lake was bigger shells, probably bigger explosions, but you don't notice that when you're standing downtown watching it over the water tower. It's just as loud, it's just as impactful. Was there anybody else that saw both shows this year? Just curious, okay.
I did.
Do you agree?
Totally. I was like,
The downtown
wow.
one was bigger.
I'm so glad because we didn't get downtown. We just stepped out on the porch and looked and I was like, gosh, these are so much better. But I think it was more in the delivery. I think that it was really slow at the 4th of July. And the ones downtown were really, it was just better execution.
And that may be a difference in execution when you have smaller shells and you can have them put together in a smaller area and not have to run from hole to hole and who knows how many people they have. I don't know the exact way they're doing it, but I don't know if it's a bad idea to maybe consider the idea of having both celebrations downtown instead of doing the celebration at the park.
I wondered if that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, because it just seems like we can get a whole lot more for our money. And not only that, but all of our downtown businesses would benefit from the crowd. We have no Holly businesses that are benefiting from the crowd as it is. We make money on the parking. How much money are we bringing in about on the parking?
Between $17,000 and $2,000.
Yeah, I think with the,
And does that go to parks or that goes back to the
Fireworks.
No, it goes back into the fireworks.
I think everybody's so used to everything that's on the lake, it's a big crowd draw, it brings a lot more people into
It
town.
does. But it's also not a lot of local people though, too.
Well, except all the people that live around the lake
Yes,
that have large yard parties.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And the beach always is
Beach.
full.
Yeah,
But if we didn't have it at Lakeside Park, we could plant bigger trees.
Round we go. Well, also too, just if we did end up considering putting it downtown, that seems very feasible to be a DDA event. That would be in the DDA district.
That would actually be kind of fun.
It would be a huge change. Historically, change is tough. But it looks like we're facing the realistic possibility of unless we can come up with a company that will still do it on the 4th, we're already changing the date this year.
I like your idea.
I don't know, I'm a dissenter. I kind of like it on the water. It's gonna be a lot of it's a lot of logistics on the water with parking and stuff, but it's gonna be a lot of logistics right smack dab in the middle of town where we're already have not a
Absolutely.
lot of parking.
and the liability too of our condensed fireworks around a residential area or the only thing we can do is burn down the cemetery. Just try it before.
Well, we already hold one
desecrate
downtown,
graves.
so.
But we're successfully hosting the show in September with smaller shell fireworks and seems bigger. I think it's just because it's got a backdrop behind it. It's not over the lake.
Well, I think that
I don't
forming a
know.
committee will solve that, any problems that come up or any choices they want to do.
Well, I mean, I think it's certainly something that the committee could consider if you wanted them to, but I'm not worried about the fire end of it, about starting the fire, because as Shannon said, we're already doing them down there now, and the company, they're pretty comfortable with doing them there, and the fire department
Yeah.
is comfortable with them there. I'm more concerned with, as Amber said, the logistics. You know, so right now on holidays, I mean, on a good night on holidays for the fireworks, we have probably 1,000 people down in that area, and it's pretty busy. I mean, if you move the fireworks from the lake down there, you're gonna have 2,000 or 3,000 people, and where do you put them? And then is it safe condensing all those people
Yeah.
in there? So, I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I'm not going to be part of the organization of it anymore, but, I mean, I like the two separate events because I think it adds more to the calendar of events for the village, and I think Lakeside Park is a good park for that. But, I mean, that's, you know, up to you guys or the committee, however you decide.
I don't think we're trying to discuss having one event. I think we're still keeping it at 2 events.
Okay,
Just one location.
Okay.
Right.
But those are huge considerations that would have to be discussed, and notoriously, nobody likes taking the shuttles. But
Again, I think it is a larger discussion than just parks. I don't think this is just a parks thing.
Right.
I mean, at least for 14 years, it's been staff-run, and God bless it, but you know, they're getting paid, they're doing a job, I'm sure they volunteer extra time because it's such a huge undertaking, but I don't see 5 of us putting this on, so it has to be a full
Yeah,
group
so-
effort.
Well, so I was just going to say, all of your events on July the 4th and holidays, those are all staff volunteer hours.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody got paid for doing any of that over the 14 years.
well, there was hot
Not any of
dogs.
the mailings or doing any of.
Anything that was done during the week,
Mm-hmm.
right, the mailings and things like that, and receiving the money in, that was.
Right, yes.
But I mean, myself or Brian Clausen or Debbie, working out there for 14 hours on the 4th of July, that was all volunteer hours.
Just hard. I totally understand.
So,
That's why I think
okay.
it is one of those, it's such a huge undertaking, it can't be just 5 people, so.
Is it the same way for the DDA director? Because he's done, is that written into their job description, or was that volunteer hours?
No, that was volunteer hours also on Nick's part.
But if it becomes a DDA
Well, he already
event,
was.
then it is
But that's who it
part
was.
of
It
his
was,
job.
it was Jerry, Debbie, Brian, and Nick pretty much
Yeah.
running that.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I don't see the DDA agreeing to take it on solely by
Not-
themselves
yeah,
either.
I don't think they should.
Yeah, but, so that's why I think a committee probably, and have some equal representation. And really, if, like you said, Sarah, if you could bring the chamber back on board, I mean, I think that would be a good thing, because it's just another resource, and more people to reach out to partner with.
Right, and absolutely having like police and fire on there, I mean, they're doing same battle, right? They have to make sure it's a safe event and that there's, you know, plenty of people, so they should be represented on the committee too.
So I think at this point, if you would like, if Amber, she said she would bring it up during council comments on Tuesday. If there is interest from council, then I could work with whoever the council representative is going to be, perhaps Amber, and send out letters to the different organizations and just see what kind of buy-in there is, who would participate in it. Then that committee could get together and they could talk about, you know, location and dates and things like that, and fundraising strategy.
Well, the biggest thing too is, we're not reinventing the wheel. You guys already built the wheel. We just have to have somebody to help roll it down.
Well, and that's what's nice. I appreciate the
Yeah,
continuity
oh,
of you saying,
absolutely.
you've kept this in files.
Yeah, you just have to have somebody just take over the operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, and who knows, I mean, they may have a better idea. We've tried lots of things over the years. We've raffled off Harley Davidson motorcycle, we've raffled off golf carts, we've done a couple of other large, an ATV one year. So we've done different
Yeah.
things. Truthfully, we did just as well or better just through direct solicitation
Yeah.
and donations, because when we have those other larger vehicles, again, that just required somebody else to load those vehicles up on trailers and take them to different events
Yeah.
to sell raffle tickets at them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so this is the least labor intensive the way we've done it the last couple of years. So I think really, again, if Amber's going to take it to the council, if it's, and I don't need a vote on it, but by consensus, if it's okay with the commission, if council has buy-in, which I think they will, then we'll reach out, see who's interested in jumping on the committee. It can be discussed again in your January meeting as far as status of where that's at. And the only other thing that I would ask for action on is this recommendation to council regarding the contract, because I think they're going to want to know what you guys' feelings were on it.
I think that it's best for the village to at least put in effort in trying to keep the date on the 4th. If there is another company that is a similar price that would do it on the 4th, I think that makes the most sense for the residents. And in that case, I would definitely recommend against trying to change the location. If we were able to, the only reason I thought, well, maybe that, if we have to make the change to the day, we can, it's going to be different anyway. But I'm a little bit hesitant to make a recommendation on this without knowing if there are any other companies, even if it was a little bit more cost, but to keep the date for the next 2 years. That's the tradition around here, and I don't remember, as far as I can remember, I don't remember it not being on the 4th. So it was?
remember it either, and I've lived here for 40 years.
It's not been?
It's not, it's always been on the 4th.
Right.
And people in this village, I interrupted you, I'm sorry.
No, but that's my point is, either these guys have made this a new arbitrary for us, if we've really been using them that long, or, because, it's gonna be on the weekend, every 5 years, and either that's a new arbitrary, which is understandable, but I still think that we should try to, for the sake of the tradition of the village, we should try to make sure that there is no other option before we make that recommendation.
Well, we have to, everybody recognizes the Holly Independence Day fireworks are so well-loved and such a big deal. Like, they're huge here. It's always been fantastic shows. I agree there. I'm okay with the 3rd, but that might make me non-traditional, but I do think we have to do our due diligence in finding out if a 4th is option.
Right. For my family, it doesn't make a difference what day it is, but also, we don't pay for any advertising, right, for that?
No.
So all of that crowd comes with 0 paid advertising, which means, it's not advertised, but every entity that already advertises for us, we have to reach out and get that switched. Otherwise, we're going to have people at the park on the 4th with nothing.
Good point. Well, maybe based on this discussion then, maybe it would be best if I ask council to postpone this contract and give me a week or two to contact some other companies just to check on options for the 4th.
Yeah, because
Do you
if
mind
there
doing that?
is not a 4th option, I'm fine with a 3-year contract. If every place around us is
too.
like, no, we can't do the 4th, or it's, you have to go so large to be on the 4th or something, then I'm okay with 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
They do a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Their fireworks are great.
So maybe just,
You're right, how to word this, right?
Yeah, well, so I'm trying to think, and maybe you can help me, Amber, if I even need a motion. I mean, I think I understand by consensus, that the commission would prefer to have fireworks on the 4th if there's an option to do that. If not, then they are comfortable with proceeding with a contract with Ace Pyro for 3 years.
I feel like that's, yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a motion to me.
No, that's just a
Okay.
consensus.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I know, though, that there are families in this village that have family reunions because of the fireworks on the 4th. They plan big parties because they're used to that date. So it would be a shame if we
It would
had
be
to
a
give
huge
that
amount
up.
of advertising we would have to offer, at least locally.
Okay, so that's how we'll proceed with that. Is, you know what, I'll just, I didn't put this on your agenda tonight for a motion. We could have had one, but it's not required that there is one. It was more a discussion item. And so, I'll take your discussion and consensus, and we'll move forward that way. We'll see if there's companies interested, if we can locate them, to doing it on the 4th in the same price range. I'll ask council to postpone this contract approval on Tuesday night.
Realistically, we're probably late in the game, and there might not be anybody available for this year. So, which we
And
understand.
it's a Saturday,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, understood.
Okay, all set?
Thank you guys for doing it for so long.
I appreciate that.
And you're welcome.
Now, we're moving on to discuss, well, I guess we pass up the A one for 4th of July fireworks, but we already discussed that.
I feel like A and B kind of went together where we just
Right.
talked about forming
Yes.
this committee.
Right.
I think we can scratch both of those. You understand the consensus on those? Okay, updates gazebo at Grand Shaw Park. Danny Resberg.
Danny's not here. I have no information on that. Okay. So I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Moving on.
Appointment of Parks Liaison to SISMA.
So I'm interested, and I can be the liaison to SISMA.
For
If-
real? That's super easy.
If the board so chooses.
I choose. I support that.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
Yes, I will make the motion to appoint Shannon to be the Parks Liaison to SISMA.
I'll support that.
Roll call, please.
Hutchins.
Yes.
McCanny.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Kyer.
Yes.
Congratulations. Go out and buy some muck boots. You're gonna need them.
I live for that kind of stuff.
It's fun.
I'll actually
She
be
loves
camping in
them.
Canada this
And you'll
weekend.
find SISMA is a good organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to appointment of Parks Liaison to the Shiawassee River Water Trail Coalition.
How often do they meet?
It's like once a month or
I
once every
believe
other
it's
month.
once a month, and oftentimes it's on Zoom. According
it.
to, according to Chris.
I'll do it.
I'll support that. I'll make a motion that Risa
Oh, that
Hamilton
was quick.
becomes our appointment of Parks Liaison to the Shiawassee River Water Trail Coalition.
And I'll support that.
Roll call, please.
Hutchins.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
McCanny.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Kyer.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Somebody needs to give me contact information or something for that, or they'll contact me, whatever.
We can get with Chris and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
pass that on.
Yeah, I think Chris would have it.
I have it too.
Okay.
Let's move
I
on
have
to
his phone
closing
number.
public comment. Does anybody have a comment for the public? Jeez. Seeing none, hearing none, let's move on to reports. Mr. Walker,
No further report.
anybody else from staff?
Nope.
Chris? Geez, that was quick. Moving on to board member comments. Raisa?
I have nothing other than I'm still working with Easter Seals, trying to get a handicap something put somewhere. Part of the holdup now is trying to get with the school board to see if they're putting anything comparable in our area, because we have to know that before they'll extend an opportunity to us.
Cool. Moving on to Sarah.
Currently, I'm working on Halloween. Most of that's coming together. I need volunteer assistance with somebody to organize and run at the time of the costume contest in the park. And I need assistance with day of, like crowd control, helping to move everybody over to the park, making sure everybody knows there's free stuff in the park. And then also, I need assistance with DJ. I might have the DJ secured, but I don't have that confirmed yet. Getting last minute jitters about that. Otherwise, everything else is coming together great. All of the funding, all the finance. I will be submitting some receipts, but they'll be nominal. They won't be $1,800. It'll just be like for the cups and napkins and tablecloths.
Cool.
Yeah.
Say that. Amber?
Well, I just think we should answer, like, I can be there to help.
I can
Thank
help
you.
day of too, yeah.
So it's 3 to 6 is the event. If you can come just a bit early, that would be fantastic.
What's the date?
The 27th, I think it's Saturday before Halloween, 3 p.m. to 6. Yeah.
It's a Saturday. Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Amber, do you have anything?
Costumes are
It's
optional.
October 26th.
Yeah, costumes are encouraged, not required.
October 26th?
And you
Yes.
can't win the contest.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Shannon, do you have a report?
I do. So our last meeting of the tribute committee happened, they reported they've made $861 on a boot drive. The next one, our next meeting date is going to be October 22nd at 4 PM, and people are coming to the table with fundraising ideas. At the moment, they're still trying to work with, trying to get some seed money and getting things started. We did have some citizens come in who are concerned, just making sure that the people who live around the park are heard, and that they want any kind of development to also include engineering studies before we place things. There is nowhere near where anybody's ready to even talk design yet or breaking ground. They're still just in the initial fundraising stages of this.
Question.
Yes,
on that
ma'am.
then. So basically, the idea is like you guys are going to raise money, and it'll be based on how much money you raise will be the design kind of that you pick, is that?
That is my interpretation of how this is going. I think there were a lot of plans, but there's not a ton of volunteers, which I think is the theme of a lot of things that we all run, right? But there are dedicated, and I think it's going to come together. So hopefully after this October 22nd meeting, and people are coming in with different ideas for fundraising, we'll get an idea of what could go forward. I know they've got a lot of creative ideas that they want to do, so
Okay.
I think it'll still be great. They are still talking about walking paths and keeping everything very green. Nobody's talking about paving anything or putting roads in or anything like that, which is refreshing. That was initially some of our concerns when the first things happened, that we were worried about that kind of development. But I think they're moving right along with the way that we were talking as far as what our surveys have said and what the public wants to see here. So I think it looks good. But they're still just very early stages of this. It's not something that's happening overnight. You agree, Joe? You're there.
Yes. Anything else on your report?
That's all I got.
That's about the only report I have about the tribute is Cyclone Park is an evolution thing. It's going to take, it might take 5 years to put something in there. We want to do it right. The only thing we've discussed in any length is where we think a nice tribute would be put. We don't know, the size is small so far, and a walking trail. That's what we're kind of getting enough boot drives. There's been 2 boot drives and 3 people ran the boot drive. So we need some personnel because it's hard standing out there and doing it. So we have to get more people involved or more groups or anything else for fundraising. But we're not in a hurry with Cyclone Park.
Right.
Yeah, everybody loves the green space. They look out there and they go, wow, it's really impressive. And with this sitting here, our village office says, wow.
I
It
know,
doesn't
it
get
looks
much
so
better than
nice
this.
now.
Yeah.
But we are kind of in a hurry about Ganshaw Park. Has there been any update about that SISMA meeting?
No, we're still waiting on SISMA. Our contact person is Brian, and when
Okay.
SISMA gets their thing together, they'll be happening. Then we'll be notified about a meeting or what's coming up. A lot of these people, have, summertime's a busy time, and then I think the busiest time for them is in the winter when the foliage goes down, they can see what's happening, and everybody's got back to normal.
Are you expecting that there won't be a meeting then between now and January?
Don't know, it depends on when the 7 people from SISMA get together and say, the forester and everybody else, water quality, and everybody else gets together and comes up with some information to have an information meeting.
Okay.
The only thing we have discussed is going beyond the fence, 10 feet, bush into the lake.
Okay.
So as long as we don't remove no dirt, just remove the vegetation, so.
Can I ask that Brian, get a message to Brian, see if it's possible if he emails us if they're going to be meeting or when he gets that call? I would like to know instead of come back in January and have everything all,
Okay, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:48.
It was a good meeting.
No, 6:48.
6:48.
I was like, wow,
My Mickey
that went
Mouse
really
hat.
fast. Holy crap, I'm late.
I know,
I'm
it's
late.
been,
I watched